I want to get Carol's take on this. I have challenged Angel Reese, who hates Caitlin Clark, to a basketball game to 15 after I watched Angel Reese miss like 9 consecutive layups in a basketball game last night. Ones and twos. I'm 46, 6 foot, 185. Angel Reese is 6'3", 165. This will be interesting, but Carol, have you seen this yet? I'm texting it to you. So the Daily Wire wrote about this.
Yeah.
And they picked a photo of the wrong white guy. Like they have.
Do they think you
they
all
have
look alike?
misidentified? This is racism of the highest magnitude. They just think they can put a white guy in a ball cap
That's
with
amazing.
a beard and sunglasses. Do you see this? I don't even know who that is. Do you know who that is?
I don't. No, he looks like he just won maybe a golf something.
So the headline
That's
is Clay
amazing.
Travis challenges W. One of my buddies just sent me this. Like, who is the white guy? They used the wrong white guy picture for me. They got Angel Reese right. Good for them, because if they got the wrong black girl,
right?
Yeah, if they got in the wrong black girl photo, the company wouldn't exist anymore. But they got the wrong white guy photo. So first of all, I don't know how much time you've spent in basketball analysis. How do you think I would do against Angel Reese one-on-one?
See, this is how you try to make me care about women's basketball, right?
You would watch. Yeah, would
Of
you
course I'd
watch? Yes, of
I
course.
would
Everybody would
absolutely
watch this game.
I like your quote. She plays basketball all the time. I occasionally play my 14-year-old in our backyard.
That's accurate. That's 100%
amazing.
accurate.
Yeah, I think you could take her. I think anybody who is that full of themselves is ripe for being beat.
Well, then certainly that would be a real battle of egos between me and Angel. I am a little bit concerned about my tendons and my ankles holding up, so I'd only be able to play one game. But I really think that I could beat her. She's got me on a few inches, but I have her on, I think, shooting ability, which is an indictment of her.
Often.
She does play all the time. It's actually her job. Do you know that? You may not know this. Do you know what the rookie salary is for WNBA players?
I don't. Tell me what it is.
$75,000 a year. That legitimately, you get drafted into the WNBA. They put it on television, and then you get paid $75,000 a year. All right.
Wow.
We brought
That's
you on for a variety of serious things. You didn't know what you were walking into.
Before we get to serious, though, I looked up that image that they had of you. It appears to be just a model for sunglasses.
You you could search images to see. So they just picked a random white guy who was modeling sunglasses.
Yeah.
Again, I think the company would cease to exist if they had misidentified Angel Reese. But the fact that they have just picked a random white guy as opposed to actually using me is. Oh, some people are saying it looks like Chris Harrison from The Bachelor, which is even funnier potentially. All right. So, by the way, happy early Memorial Day. Are you and the kids doing anything special this weekend?
I'm at a history tournament, Clay. I'm at a history tournament with my middle son for 4 days. So pray for me.
4 days?
Oh, yeah. It's the national.
So how does the history tournament work? Is it like Quiz Bowl?
It is. It's a bunch of nerdy kids all staying in one hotel, and it's quite wonderful. Obviously, I'm joking about it, but
what percentage of the questions do you know the answer to?
I know approximately, like on his regional competitions, I would know about half. At the nationals or international competitions that he does, I know like 10%.
So is it world history? Like they can be asked anything under the sun?
It can be anything, yeah.
Do they still have the bell? Like you have to
later. Yeah, you have to hit the buzzer. You have to hit the buzzer. They're tough. They're tough questions.
This is, by the way, I would be super interested in this. But 4 days. How many rounds?
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
It starts with 2 rounds, and you have to advance, and so on. So.
Where is the tournament? What part of the country?
It's in Orlando.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, there are worse places you could be. I'm going to be there next week to go to the new Universal Studios with my kids.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's a heck of a way to spend Memorial Day weekend. That is a very parent answer. I have a question for you. I know you're not a diehard sports person, but I know will know in general this idea. the reason we were talking about the Caitlin Clark and the reason that picture is up is I was comparing it to Tiger Woods comes into golf and everybody suddenly cares about golf. A lot of you out there listening to me right now watched a Masters tournament that you would have never watched if Tiger hadn't been involved. Then you have Venus and Serena Williams come into tennis, and the number of people watching women's tennis, especially in the United States, skyrockets. And now you have Caitlin Clark, and way more people are paying attention to women's basketball. Venus, Serena, and Tiger were, in general, all welcomed with open arms by golf and tennis. My theory on why Caitlin Clark is being disrespected and actually not welcomed at all is because of racism and because a lot of the black women in the WNBA don't feel like there are any consequences for being racist. And I think it actually ties in with the larger culture, unfortunately, of what we've seen happen with Israel since October 7th, where Jews are seen as white. And so people don't actually look at good or evil or even acknowledge their own behavior because they feel like that is the system under which they're viewing it. Do you see those as connected, or am I crazy?
Absolutely. No, I absolutely see that connection. And it's funny, you know, funny, not funny, but my 15-year-old daughter and I have this running joke that Jews are whatever the worst thing is. So when it's white, then we're white. When it's not white, then we're not white. It's whatever the bad thing is. But yeah, absolutely. It's who you're allowed to hate, who it's okay to hate openly and to do bad things to openly. And it's you're right in making that connection, because I think that's where we are. Like some people, some races, some religions, you're allowed to just talk negatively about openly, you know. And obviously Christianity has the same issue, maybe on a less intense scale, but it's the same thing, right? You can make fun of Christians all you want. Try to make fun of some other religions, and you're not going to be greeted with the same level of humor. So.
No, I mean, it's a great example. I didn't think about the Christian angle, but certainly think about the Olympics. They made fun of the Last Supper in France, which is a Christian nation, in a way they never would have made fun of Islam, for instance. Charlie Hebdo, they all got killed for putting a picture up of Muhammad, but mocking in sort of a disgusting fashion the Last Supper is perfectly okay. That's a good analogy, too. Let me ask you this.
Absolutely.
You, after October 7th, well, you talked about this. Buck and I did yesterday. Buck said, hey, I want to teach Karol how to use guns. You've got 3 young kids.
Yep.
And I think many Jewish people in the wake of October 7th suddenly thought, even if they hadn't traditionally been people who own guns, hey, it's time to go get guns now. We have to be able to protect our family because the rising tide of anti-Semitism is sweeping across the world. And that certainly is connected to the awful murder in Washington, D.C. we saw. Do you think that other Jews, based on your conversations, are making this same decision when it comes to weapons? And take us into conversations that you have had since the untimely and unfortunate and awful murder of these 2 young Jewish people in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
What have conversations sounded like in the Jewish community?
Well, you're absolutely right. Well, first of all, I just want to clarify, the man in the couple was actually a Christian. He was a dedicated Christian. His mom was Christian. He had lived in Israel. He had served in the IDF, but he was a Christian Israeli. And that's sort of the thing here. It's that these monsters who want to harm Jews or harm people connected to Israel, they don't care if you're Jewish or not. They're going to hurt whoever's around. They're not making calculated decisions as to who to kill. They just sprayed bullets into people leaving an event. It could have been anybody. So this idea that, it's you absolutely need to protect yourself. Jewish spaces have been amazing at it, terrifically amazing at it. Had this person tried to go into the event, they would have not succeeded. But he waited outside, which is really a dangerous place for anybody leaving an event like this. That's where the danger would come in, because he wouldn't be able to get through the security. Having said all that, I've absolutely seen such a shift in the Jewish community. I've written about it in a number of different ways. I wrote about it before October 7th. I wrote a column called The New Jew because I was at a Jewish comedy show in Miami, and it was a lot of different Jewish comics, and one of the Jewish comics started talking negatively about guns, and the crowd started booing her. And I had never seen anything like it. I was a fairly new Floridian. I've only been there 3 years. The Jewish community had long been anti-guns. And again, this is before October 7th. This is January 2023. So when the crowd started booing her, I was like, wow, something has really changed in the Jewish world. And I hear from Jews all the time that they're getting armed, they're getting trained, and it's really important to do that. Another thing I've written about in terms of guns is people say, oh, I'm not a gun person. When you say that, when you say I'm not a gun person, you're saying I'm not a helping other people person. I want to be the kind of person that can step in and help. Therefore, I am a gun person.
I think that is incredibly well said. And all over Israel, when I traveled in December, I saw moms carrying guns on their hips now in a way that they never would have before October 7th. I like your question of basically like who you are allowed to hate, because I do think it goes to the embodiment here of the Jewish faith. Jewish people look around and they say, we've been hated for thousands of years.
Right.
The idea that we would suddenly be, and by the way, also have spoken up for so many other groups that we believe have been oppressed or treated unfairly. And then suddenly you look around and the people that you have been fighting for don't have your back at all.
Right.
What has that realization been like?
Well, it's interesting because I don't have that as much because I'm a conservative and I've been a lifelong conservative. I was born in the Soviet Union. I came to America as a small child. You don't become a liberal after that. So I was a conservative my whole life, and my conservative world has been generally amazing on protecting Jews in America, amazing on Israel. In general, the conservative side has been just above and beyond. Yesterday, Buck Sexton, your co-host, posted some commentary about the shooting and just how, America won't stand for it and how Jews deserve to feel safe here and that kind of thing. And I reposted it on my Instagram because I wanted my liberal Jewish friends to see it. And I posted, if this isn't your friends today, you don't want them. And my friends have been unbelievable. You've been unbelievable. I feel such a warm embrace from the conservative side. Having said all that, obviously there's been an uptick on the right of people kind of moving in a dangerous direction. I think the villainization of Israel on the right has been kind of scary, but I also think it's still very limited. You still have the people who kind of say bad things about Jews or say bad things about Israel. Even the Candace Owens of the world, they still kind of have to dance around it. They'll always be like, I have no problem with Jews. I have no problem with Israel. I just have a problem with, and then they'll say something, like Netanyahu or something, the democratically elected leader of Israel. So it's still far better to be on the right than it is to be on the left. And I understand why so many of my liberal Jewish friends are feeling, like they've lost their bearings. They've stood with these people in a variety of marches and causes and whatever, and these people don't have their backs. And what I would say to them is this is a time to have your eyes be open, realize who does stand with you. The Jewish vote for Donald Trump, for example, increased by a lot this last time. He got 30% in 2020. I think it's in the 40s this time, and that should keep moving up because the right is are friends to Jews, they're friends to Israel, and Jews in America should wake up and notice that.
Karol, your podcast is up. Everybody should be checking it out if they aren't as a part of the Clay and Buck Podcast Network. 4 days of Quiz Bowl is a heck of a long time of Quiz Bowls. We appreciate you stepping away from that to hang out with us. And good luck to your 15-year-old on dominating the Quiz Bowl.
12-year-old, my 12-year-old.
12-year-old, sorry. 15-year-old girl is the oldest, right? This is the middle one?
Yeah. Yep, middle one.
All right, good deal. Well, we'll talk again soon, but keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Karol Markowicz, I really do highly impress upon you that you check out. Obviously, she writes at the New York Post and does fabulous work there, but I really do impress upon you. If you haven't checked out the Clay and Buck Podcast Network, we have a lot of super talented people from a variety of different perspectives that I believe you will enjoy. Maybe now's the time you can check it out because you're on the road for Memorial Day looking for something to listen to. I know I'm going to be doing that tomorrow as I go up to the Indy 500. Look, as we kind of are talking about the awfulness of what happened to those two Israelis, or I guess it was one Israeli and one, I think the woman was born in Kansas, if I'm not mistaken. It is unfortunately reflective of the rise in anti-Semitism that we are seeing, not only in the United States, but around the world. I mean, it wasn't very long ago that the governor of Pennsylvania's house was burned down, the governor's mansion, by someone who was trying to stand up, they thought, for Palestine. That is completely unacceptable. And that's one of the things that the IFCJ is trying to fight back against. They've rushed so much emergency aid to Israel, purchasing everything from prepackaged emergency food, water, flashlights, building bomb shelters, fortifying emergency vehicles. They even helped move entire hospital wing structures underground, which we saw when we were there because of the concern about missiles that might otherwise be arriving. In northern Israel, the IFCJ has helped install nearly 200 mobile bomb shelters near bus stops. You can join us in supporting the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews by calling 888-488-IFCJ. That's 888-488-4325. You can also go online to give at ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org.